Today we're looking at DeAndre guitar picks, primarily from the 1920s. There's 24 different picks here and 14 different Tortoise styles. There are 5 matched groups and 8 unmatched or unpaired picks, meaning they have no equivalent shape in the same Tortoise pattern. These are some very rare DeAndre picks, but still hackable if you look for them and keep the hunt up and do trading with others. Let's go up here to the upper left to start it off. And I have some pick numbers down here today. This is the first pick shape DeAndre made right here. It's the number 1 in their catalog from 1927. Next to it are 2 number 2s and 2 different Tortoise styles, as you can see. Number 3, if you're curious, is down over here, paired up with this group because it's part of the same Tortoise style group. Moving on over here. Now, these two do happen to go into the 1930s, the number 40 and the number 24. The number 24 listed in the 1927 catalog. And the next available catalog we have is 20 years later in 1947. That shape's gone. So these were obviously in that transitional period between 1927 and 1947. When moving down to this group here, we see an American propeller shape. We saw a lot of those with the Germans group that I did, but you won't see too many American propellers. So there we have the 26. Over here we have 21, 30, 71. All hand-beveled picks, very thick. Same with these, all hand-beveled. These are machine tumbled right here. Moving down over to this group, it has a strong hint of tagger stripe to it, but not quite. This has the strongest hint. This number 24 right here of tagger stripe, but DeAndre did not use that in any predominant way because it shows up in so few of their picks. That was used by the Midwest manufacturer, primarily the tagger stripe style, which we see. And this is not the tagger stripe style. These two here are related, and these two here are more similarly related. The 368.5, very rare shape to come by. Late 20s, 1930s, unbeveled, cut flush edges. This one here, I'm going to just go ahead and show you the hand beveling, if you can see it, if our camera will capture that. And I think it can. Let me put my hand up there. You can see the hand beveling on it. And then right here, the edges are flush. They haven't been beveled at all. So is the case with so many of these. Here's one of the earliest DeAndre cork grips. It's the number 41. Next to it, you could be forgiven if you were thinking this is just your standard guitar pick. It does resemble some of the later Italian styles of Tortoise, but not quite the same. A little tighter burl in there with the tortoise shell, but the shape is different. Same with this 362 in the making here next to it. Both of these related to the 351, but they're not quite. And you have to see that by looking at the shoulders right here, looking at the top, seeing how rounded it is, and looking at the slant. This has a straight slant, slightly curved here. But I did not even know this was a 51 until I later saw the early DeAndre catalog. But I had put it aside because I knew it wasn't the same as a regular 351 shape that we see today. And sure enough, later when I got the catalog, I discovered it was that rare pick. Moving over here, we got the 369.5. Never seen another 369.5. It's the only one in my collection. Now, just a general comment about all these picks. Other manufacturers did make similar shapes for many of them, but not all of them. And the number 1 had predecessors going back to the before the turn of the 1900. So, but this is a really good match in proportion and in size for the DeAndre. And we'll see a couple others later on in some early American Tortoise styles that may well be DeAndre, but that's what I have designated for it now. And in our loose grips or unmatched pairs, we have these 4 over here, all mandolin picks. This may well be our earliest pick on the board, the DeAndre number 5, and it could go back to the start of their company because of the particular tortoise pattern there. It is not beveled either. This is not beveled. These two are beveled. And this number 96 was actually common throughout the early 1990s. You could get them through a company out of Boston that previously known as Harris and Fandel, and or H&F. The H&F pick being a very rare pick. General comments about the group. Make note of the different tortoise patterns here. It's amazing that we have this many different styles. And look at the distinct shapes that you'll no longer see either. So hold on with me. We're going to take a look at another board right now, and with many D'Andrea picks on it. Doesn't look like a very distinct group. A lot of dark colors in there, as you can see. But this is another way I analyze picks to try to determine what belongs where they came from, how rare they might be. So we're looking at them right here. Now let's take a different look. They happen to be on a light board, and when we turn that light up, we could see the difference in color much more distinctly. The group at the top here, all D'Andrea. The group in the middle here, all D'Andrea. D'Andrea right here, not D'Andrea. These two picks occur before the start of D'Andrea. This group right here possibly had D'Andrea right there, so they could be D'Andrea. These are D'Andrea. Not known to be D'Andrea, not known to be D'Andrea. This occurred actually before the company started, this particular pattern, and I'm going to bring it up close because we see this in pickguards going back from 1898, and it does have a very distinctive appearance to it. And if they were all together, you wouldn't even know there was a difference, but these are subgroups right here. Same style, but a subgroup, not quite the same. And I'm going to bring it up closer to the camera so you can see it. So when you run across these colors, you'll know, doesn't look like it's too much. But you've had a close-up of them now, and hopefully you can see it. I'll get a flashlight here and backlight these. You get a better view. There you go. Very tight burrow of tortoise in there. Let's take a look at a few others using that effect. The smoky one here from D'Andrea, and these this 1930 D'Andrea group at the top here. Now the one on the right is from the 1920s, and the one on the left from the 1930s. Clearly distinct celluloids, as you could see, but unlike anything today. Now the ones at the top, this is one of the rare groups whose celluloid happened to be produced over a long period of time. And even today, you could find something similar to that celluloid. But we know by the shapes, this early 351 here, or number 44, as it was in the 1920s catalog, this earlier transitional 362, and this 349 right here, occur very early with the company. They go back a long ways, but they're clearly not modern. A number of them are not beveled. Most are beveled, which again tells us they produced these in great numbers and probably during the early 1930s. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Keep an eye out for more. We're going to be seeing some more early American tortoise styles in the next video. It won't be under the D'Andrea title, though. It'll be under early American tortoise patterns. Thanks for joining me. Joe Macy, FindPick7 at yahoo.com.